Tanida Mullen. In today's show, we are going to talk about how to get that paper. Yes, we're talking about how you can get a raise, what you need to do to make sure that you're making top dollar, and when is it really time to ask the question about getting more money in your job, in your career, in your business. This episode is brought to you by the savvyyoungprofessional.com, where you can find all the show notes to the show. You can find all types of articles and videos related to really taking the next step in your career, in your business, or in your life. So if you want to know about how to get more money, how to get a raise, stay tuned. All right, savvy young professionals, today we are going to talk about something that I know everyone is interested in. We're going to talk about 7 ways for you to get a raise. Money is a sensitive subject and we all want more of it. I mean, don't be shy, don't be ashamed. I know you want more money. So, we're going to talk about a couple of ways that you can do that, some things that you can do to prepare to ask the question, and some things that you need to look out for after you ask for that raise. So, the first thing I want you guys to remember when you are asking for a raise is that you first need to dress for the job that you want. Now, I know we hear this all the time. It's a tad bit cliche, but I can't tell you how true this is. Whatever it is that you really want to do, you've got to make sure that you put that forth into the world. So you have to be the example, the walking, living, breathing example of what it is that you want. And that also translates into dollars. So if you know that maybe you're ready to step it up, you're ready to make more money, then start dressing like it. Start looking like a person that people are going to take serious. Start to take inventory of the people around you in the position that you want to be in. So, for example, if you know that you really want to get that corner office, you want to make sure you're a director or you want a CEO position, you have to start looking like that person. People tend to give credit to people visually before they actually even know them. And there's tons of scientific studies to support this. So that's the first thing that you want to do. Make it visual and start to look like the person that you want to be. The second thing you want to do is you want to take inventory, okay? So you want to look and see over the past couple of years, what have you done in your career, in your life, in your extracurricular activities that can help you and that could really make you look great on paper. This is important. And the best time to rework your resume is when you're gearing up to ask for a raise. You don't want to wait until you're jobless. You want to actually start to look at your resume, tweak it, add things that you've been doing over the past couple of years so that when it is time to ask for a raise that you're ready and you're equipped and you have all the right information. I suggest you grab a notebook and sit down and write all of the things that you've learned in your current position and all of the new skills to your resume. And make sure you highlight the newest skills first. Taking inventory of your skill set and all the things that you know and have learned is so important, not only for when it's time to ask for more moolah, but it's also important so that you can get a little boost and you can understand where you're at in your career and what you're actually worth and what your skill sets and your knowledge and expertise is worth. So if you're not even doing that for a raise, make sure you at least do it for yourself just so you know where you're at and where you're going. The third piece of advice I have for you is to act now and ask later. I'm going to say that one more time. Act now, ask later. When you think you're ready for a raise, start to take on a little bit more responsibility around the workplace. The trick to this is to do this way before you ask for more money. So, really think about this. If you know that you are ready for the next level, a raise, a promotion, you've got to start working even harder than you're already working because you have to be noticed. And so, not to say that you're not working hard, you're not on level 10 right now, But if you are on level 10 and you want more money or you want a raise, you need to take it to level 15 or level 20. And this is why. When it's time for you to ask for more money and you're sitting across from the person that's going to make that decision, you want to be ready. You want it to be more than a conversation about why they should pay you more. You want it to be a conversation in which you can really leverage all the things that you've been doing. You want them to see that you're worth the investment before you even ask. And so taking on more responsibility, making sure you're always first in, last out, or if you're not first in, last out, you're producing like crazy is really, really important. That is probably one of the biggest keys to asking for more money in a particular situation. You've got to make sure it's worth it, and the only person that can really determine that is you. The fourth thing is to work the numbers. One mistake that I see people make all the time when they're ready to get more money is they say just that: I want more money. I want a raise. Well, to someone who is responsible for crunching numbers and to make sure that they're not spending excessively, aka your boss or your supervisor, you wanting more money cannot be the beginning and the end of the conversation. You can't just say, I want a raise. Number one, that is really giving the power and the leverage to the person making the decision. So without a number, you could absolutely get a raise and it might just be 50 cents. And I'm pretty sure you're not working that hard and doing all this extra stuff for 50 cents. So what you need to do is you need to assess your situation, sit back and take that inventory list that we talked about a little bit earlier and really figure out what a nice number would be. My suggestion is to start a little bit higher than what your original thought was based on your assessment, because then you can negotiate from there. But what I will say is you have to have a number. My experience with asking for more money has always been that someone on the other side of the table has asked me, how much? And you have to be prepared for that answer, because if you're not, then you're probably not going to get what you want. And even worse, you're probably not going to be taken seriously. Number five, start with why. You're going to set up a meeting with someone and ask them for something. But the most important thing you want to do is make sure, number one, you're not wasting time with small talk. And number two, you are very clear on why. Because that is a question that you're going to get when you're asking anybody for anything, especially money. But they're going to ask you, well, why should we give you this raise? You need to make sure you are prepared for this question, because if you don't know why, this is going to lead to a definite no. So once again, I take the inventory sheet. Look at this. All of the notes that you've made, all of the skills that you have, all of the work that you've already done in the company. Make sure you package that, have it right in front of you. And that is your why. I've done this before. I've sat down in front of someone, and I can tell you right now, having that brag sheet, having that paper next to you that's really a list of all the things that you're kicking butt at is going to help you. You don't want to get asked why and not have an answer. So make sure you start with why, know why before you even ask for a meeting, and be prepared to answer that with power. Number six, make it comfortable. This is kind of a big one, and it's a little bit of an insider's tip, because I think a lot of people go into situations and they only think about themselves. And right now, I'm giving you some really sound advice. When you are going to ask anyone for anything, especially your boss, for more money, you want to make sure that they are in a comfortable setting. So, examples of what not to do: don't walk into their office unannounced without an appointment. Don't talk to them on the busiest days of the week. Don't just send them a random email saying you want to talk to them, because that could mean so many things, and you don't want to put them in a position of defense, and you don't want to put them in a position of worry. So, what I suggest that you do is that you set up a meeting with the decision maker in their comfort zone. Ask them what type of setting would be comfortable for them. So, you might say to your boss, "Hey, it's something that I wanted to talk to you about. It's not an emergency, but I wanted to see if we can sit down in a place that's comfortable for you." And depending on the type of relationship you have with your boss, they might actually take you up on that offer. So it could be that maybe they like to go and have drinks afterwards, and that's kind of in their comfort zone. Or maybe they're more of a morning person and they like to handle meetings with employees first thing so they can get it out of the way. Whatever it is, make sure you find out where their comfort zone is and meet them there. You might be thinking, well, if I'm in their comfort zone, then I'm going to be nervous. But to be perfectly honest, when you're asking someone for money, especially a significant amount, which I really hope you do, I hope you're not asking for a 50-cent raise. But when you're asking someone for money, you want to make sure that they're comfortable, and them at their highest comfort level is probably going to be a win for you. So don't worry about you being nervous or you being in a situation where it's not the most relaxed for you. Really think about their comfort zone, because promise you it'll make the ask a lot easier. The last step, and this is a really important step that I really want to spend a little bit of time on, is that you have to prepare for the no. You can do all this work, and your boss, you sit down, you have the perfect presentation, you have all of the reasons and lists of all of the work that you've been doing right in front of you. You make your case, they're in their comfort zone, and they might tell you no. And this is a really big reality. I know that we think we're entitled at times to things. And to be honest with you, you're not. You're not entitled to anything, but you definitely deserve to ask. And every ask, there's a 50-50 chance. So you might get a yes and you might get a no. And so what I want you to do to prepare for this no is, if you get the no, ask them to explain to you what you can do to get the money that you're asking for. Or ask if this is a negotiation point. Because it could be that they don't mind paying you more, but not the amount that you're thinking. Um, I've had experience with this, and I will tell you that the best question that you can ask someone when they tell you no is, what can I do to get to this number? And they are going to be honest. And most people in that situation will be honest, and they will tell you exactly what you need to do. And at that point, you have to make a decision. Am I going to do what is suggested to get where I need to go, or am I going to move on? You have choices to make. It doesn't mean that just because you get a no and someone tells you, well, you have to do A, B, C, D, and E. It doesn't mean that you have to do it and that's the end all be all, but it is an area and a way, a place that you're going to have to make some decisions. It could be negotiations, or it could be that this is not the right fit for you anymore and you have to move on. Whatever the case may be, asking that question will give you so much leverage and power for the next time. And if you decide to stay, and you do all the things that you need to do, and you reassess the situation, you go back 6 months from then or 3 months from then, whatever. With all the information that you have, if you still don't get what you want, then you know that you can make a sound decision from there. So that is a really big tip. If you don't listen to anything that I say, which I hope that you listen, take a few of these tips with you. If you don't take all of them, at least take the one about being prepared for the no, because it's probably one of the most powerful things that you can do. And it really is a time where you might get the feedback that you've been looking for this whole time to take your skills to the next level and to take your production to the next level. So just a recap on 7 ways to get a raise. Number 1, just for the job you want. Number two, take inventory. What are you doing? What skills do you have? What have you learned? Number three, act now and ask later. Make sure you are working your butt off before you ask someone for some more money. Number four, work the numbers. Do not go into a situation if you don't know how much money you want. Make sure you figure that out before you sit down and have that conversation. Number five, start with why. Why do you want to make more money? People want to know. You need to know. You need to know all of this before you sit down. But knowing why is super important. Number six, make it comfortable. When you're setting up a meeting and asking for a raise, make sure the person you're asking is in their comfort zone. It's always going to be in your benefit if that's the case. Number seven, this is the big one. Prepare for the no. You might get a no. I mean, it just might happen. But this is where your power and your leverage comes in. Take that time, take the opportunity to ask what you can do better and what can make you and take you to the next level. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. I thank you for subscribing. If you would love more of this, if you want to make sure that the Savvy Young Professional podcast is on your phone as soon as it comes out, make sure to subscribe to this channel. If you're on iTunes, just hit the subscribe button at the top of the page. If you are on Stitcher, you can subscribe for my Android users out there. You can also go to the savvyyoungprofessional.com/episode number 12, and you can find the show notes and you can find all the links mentioned in this show. I appreciate you guys listening to this show. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Twitter at Tanida Marie. You can also find me at the Savvy YP on Twitter. Thank you for listening and keep it savvy, YPs.